So this tutorial is going to walk you through how to create an online assessment using Mastery Manager. So the first thing you do is you go to Assessments and you create an assessment. So the biggest thing you want to make sure you realize is right here is you got to pick Item Bank Assessment. If you don't do that, then your test won't be online. It'll just be a answer key bubble sheet assessment. So Item Bank Assessment means now I can create a test that's entirely online. So I'm going to pick that. And actually, I already created one for the Institute Day. And I called it Institute Day Quiz. And you can see I picked Item Bank Assessment at the top. So the next thing, once you've created your assessment, is you have to go to Item Bank. So at the top, there's a tab called Item Bank. And you got to make your item bank. So first thing you do is create an item bank. If it's a class like AP Calc and you're just making like another quiz for AP Calc, you can put it under that class. Or like for this one, I picked random. So I already get a few questions. You can kind of see first one, is it Friday? You can simplify this. And so I'm going to go through how to create a question. And one of the cool things about these questions that I'm actually going to edit this one of the cool things about the questions that I recently realized is when you create a question, you can copy and paste right into the question. So if there's a multiple choice test that exists online somewhere, you can just copy and screenshot and paste it in there and just create an online assessment relatively quickly. So I'm gonna go to Institute Day number 4. And I'm going to edit the layout. So I duplicated a sentence. I'm going to delete this. And again, just to backtrack a bit, I want to save this real fast. It has nothing in it, but I'm going to go to random, and then you go to create question. There's a couple steps you want to make sure that I want to show you. There's some cool stuff here. You create several kinds of questions. Okay, you can do alphabetic, numeric, true, false, yes, no questions. Gridded responses is kind of a cool feature because then you don't have to come up with multiple choices. If the answer is a number, example for math classes, you can have a gridded answer similar to what the SAT will have. And then there's a performance event, like if you're just looking for an essay, they can type the essay, and again, that'll be returned to you. There won't be instant feedback or graded, but that would be something that's kind of cool. So I just wanted to show you that. So back to the questions. I want to go back to this one, and I want to edit the layout. Okay. So I'm just looking for a math test, and I found this online. I just typed in algebra math test, and what's kind of cool is you see these examples. You know, the thing with math, especially, is you have a lot of math type that creates problems when you're trying to input things into here. So what's kind of nice is with Smart Notebook, all you got to do is just screen capture. All right, so you screen capture, and then you go to where you want that, and just Control V, okay? And it'll put that question right in there. So which of these is equal to 5 times 8 minus x? So you go back into choice A, screen capture, back to it, Control V. So just kind of walking through this with you. Choice B is 40 minus 5x. All right, so I'm taking a quiz online and converting it into a online quiz that can give you instant feedback after your students do it. It can give them instant feedback after they do it. And it's just got a lot of benefits. And you can make multiple versions of the quiz, meaning I can do basically the same questions on maybe 3 different quizzes, for example, and let them take it until they master it. So if you have a certain topic, I like to do this with quizzes in my Algebra 2 class, it definitely is helpful. So here, I got my 4 choices. I don't need choice E. That wasn't there, so you just remove it. You could have 4 choices, 5 choices, 6 choices, however many you want. So I'm going to look at this. 5 times 8 minus x, you distribute, you get 40 minus 5x. So the correct answer is actually B, and that's going to be key that you do that. So save it, So that's question 4. So now, so far, for my random, set of item bank questions, I got Institute 1, Institute 2, 3, and 4. And as you hover over them, it'll show you what you have. And that's your question. So now you go back to your assessments. I already made the Institute Day quiz, which again was an item bank assessment. And now you go to layout. And what's kind of cool is at this point, you can put in any questions you want. So I've already, played around with this. So I think what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to duplicate this assessment so that I can, make a new one. So I'm going to duplicate the assessment and call it Institute Day Quiz. I don't know, B or something. And I'm going to go back and now I'm going to edit this. So now when I go to layout, I can edit it. Yeah, so I didn't have these options before because I had already practiced it. So I'm going to actually get rid of this. I'm going to add questions. So you want to figure out where you want to add the questions from. So no matter depending on which class you are doing and whatever item bank you made, I'm going to do random. Search the random questions. And I got, looks like 3 random questions. Institute. So let's see here. So I got 3 random questions. I'm going to select all of them. And I'm going to add these 3 questions. So once you've done that, you have all the questions you want, you save it, and then you go to your online. And here's where a lot of the cool features are. So you activate the assessment. You can give it time. It must be started between, like if you only want them to be able to do it during the class period, you can start it during only your class period. You can require students to log in using a secure browser. You can give them a time limit. You can allow students to eliminate incorrect responses, show students their final score, randomize the questions, and randomize the bubbles. I always like to do that. It's kind of cool because you can just give them everybody's got a different quiz. They can be taking it, especially for classes with Chromebooks. This is definitely useful. Review. After they've taken a test, you can set a time when they can review it. Okay? And when they review it, they can see the answers. So if you give it to them during class, you can let them review it maybe later that night, and all they got to do to review it is just type in the code again, which is this, and they can go back and see which questions they did wrong and things like that. Immediately after taking it, they'll get their final score, so they'll see what they did. If you let them review it, say it's a quiz that you just want to see if they can master it, then you can let them review it right after, and they can see the question they did wrong and try to make their corrections and things like that. So once I've done that, I'm going to save it. It says please choose the start date. Okay, so I'm going to take review off so I can save it. And at this point, to be able to see it, you got to go to examlogin.com. So you hit enter. It's going to ask you, do you have a code? Yes. My code is K9D8T, so K9D8T. And then you just randomly type in a number because we're not students, so we don't have IDs. If they, if your students are taking it, they put in their ID and it actually links to their name and everything. So now you hit find. You want to do this in English, and I can start the quiz. So I got 3 questions. So now I'm gonna guess. I know the answers to these, so I'm gonna get this one. This one is 11. We do HF Open 1959, and then I'm really finished. I've completed the assessment. So, it's kind of nice. You can do that. To be able to let them see, show students their final score when finished. Now, I didn't have that checked. I don't know if that was accidental. So now that I've saved that, I can go back to exam login, type in the code. And even though it didn't show me my final score, you go K9D8T. So even though it didn't show me my final score, I gotta remember the number I put. I think I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. it'll just show you your score. So I got 3 out of 3. So it's kind of cool. Like you can go back and when you review it, it's kind of the same thing. It'll show you your score along with the other things you did wrong. So that's a little tutorial. If you have any questions on this, I'm in G24.